All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily. My name is Aaron. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency continue to break into the mainstream. I have so much interesting news that I need to share with you today. So much is going on. Make sure you watch the whole video. Check the timestamps below because a lot of different things, including two very different video clips. And let's start with this one. It's no secret that one of the most bullish green flags for us as cryptocurrency investors this cycle is how the mainstream media has all of a sudden just accepted Bitcoin as here to stay.
Bitcoin's boom time continues. If you're not paying attention, you probably should be. Is anything different this time around?
I think what's different is, first of all, you've shaken out a lot of weak players. You've shaken out a lot of the momentum. You've certainly gone further down the road in terms of institutional follow through. You've certainly had major banks in the world talk about their own blockchain platforms. You've had a dynamic where money's become freer than free. Gold's been rallying. Why shouldn't Bitcoin be rallying?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that last part, if you talk about a Fed just gone nuts as Guy thinks it has, or all the central banks going nuts, I mean, that's part of the bull case for Bitcoin, plus institutional interest as well.
Yeah, but listen, so we got rates lower, we got gold up, we got utilities up, we got Bitcoin up, so it's all acting like safe haven. That just takes me back to the MAGA trade, what's going on there. That just seems very bifurcated in this market where they're doing that heavy lifting, but these other things that we identify as safe haven assets have really perked up
Possible
in 2020.
coronavirus impact here. I know a lot of the buyers come from that part of the world, and you wonder if they're looking to protect their money, maybe hiding it in Bitcoin.
Perhaps, but I do think to Karen's point, I believe that in a world where central bankers are tripping over themselves to devalue their currency, Bitcoin wins. In the world of fiat currencies, Bitcoin is the victor.
The perception shift happening around Bitcoin is incredible. This is very different from previous cycles. So it seems like multiple times a week, I'm playing you different video clips of people like Raoul Paul going on networks like CNBC, like Bloomberg, like Yahoo Finance, legitimate networks with a lot of viewers, evangelizing Bitcoin, talking about how Bitcoin is the future of money, talking about how Bitcoin is here to stay. I've played you plenty of clips like this, and I will continue to play you clips and show you stuff like this because it's eye-opening, it's informative, it's interesting to see how Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is being advertised and how Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is being perceived. But we're actually going to skip most of this interview today. I actually want to play you an answer to one specific question that Raoul was asked near the end of this interview. So after evangelizing Bitcoin, after talking about how CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, are on their way, Yahoo Finance asks Paul one question. It's a two-parter. They ask him, so what makes you think that central banks won't debase Bitcoin? This just shows how early we are. And two, what are we to make of all these other cryptocurrencies? So watch this, and then we'll discuss.
I'm wondering what makes you believe that Bitcoin in this whole process won't be debased or delegitimized by the central banks as they try to build out the system. And then the second part of my question is what then happens to some of these other cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Ethereum, and Ripple? Do they get left by the wayside if Bitcoin continues to proliferate?
Yeah, so I've read through the ECB papers, the IMF papers, the BIS papers, the Fed papers, and the Bank of England's papers, and they all say the same thing, essentially, is Bitcoin's here to stay, digital currencies are here to stay, we're not going to try and compete with them, but we're going to create a digital world. So they are regulating everything, putting it into place that this is a legitimate part of the system. So they bring in the central bank digital currencies in, and it all becomes interoperable. So it all connects with each other. So it doesn't look in any way, shape or form that they want to ban them, stop them. They understand the technology is out of the bottle. The genie's out of the bottle. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not going away, and it's too small to matter still. So I think Bitcoin plays a role, and I think as a person, it plays a role as the world's most pristine kind of reserve asset for individuals, corporations, pension funds. It's an incredible asset because it's the only one with a limited supply with growing demand. So it's like Metcalfe's law in a currency. It's an extraordinary thing. So I think that's ongoing. And in terms of the other cryptocurrencies, don't forget, they all play a different role in this ecosystem. This is not a currency game. This is an entirely new way of finance and trusted ownership digitally. This is the internet of money. So there's going to be lots of different platforms, lots of different ways of doing things, much like we have the Apple iOS and the Google Android system and all of these things that all speak to each other and we don't even notice. Right, so that connection of all of these systems is coming, and the central bank digital currency route is going to be the platform by which they can all connect in terms of ease of use and on-ramps and off-ramps into our normal lives.
Very interesting. So I completely agree, I think we all do, that Bitcoin is this pristine asset, cannot be debased, cannot be censored. Because there's no single point of failure, it cannot be stopped. So it probably has decades of upside ahead of it. And this is the first cycle where people are realizing that and it's starting to be accepted. Now, what's interesting is that Raoul Pal is not a maximalist. I mean, he's still trying to figure it out like the rest of us. I think me and him come at it from a similar point of view in that we're trying to figure it out. We're coming in with open eyes, trying to find out what is valuable. And I think the whole cryptocurrency community is in agreement that Bitcoin is the most valuable, a pristine asset. But, it seems to me there's a free market approach that's happening with other cryptocurrencies. And honestly, for a while, I wasn't sure if that was going to be the case. Listening to podcasts like, What Bitcoin Did or TFTC, total agreement with them as to why Bitcoin is special and different. But listening to them, I was thinking, will the whole world think like them and just deem Bitcoin as the only thing that's valuable? And it seems to me that, there's a free market approach happening with the rest of the space. And, keep your eyes open for what's happening. And it's not to say that 99% of the projects today aren't either bad ideas, money grabs, or straight out scams, because that is true. But, it's just interesting how this space is evolving. For instance, FTX, a derivatives exchange, launches Bitcoin pairs for top stocks like Amazon, Apple, and Tesla. Announced Thursday, users of the exchange are now able to register to trade over 12 equity and cryptocurrency pairs via the platform's fractional stock offering in what FTX has called a first-of-its-kind product. The additions mean users can begin trading high-demand stocks like Tesla, Apple, and Amazon, represented by tokens, against Bitcoin, stablecoins, and more cryptocurrencies. According to the CEO of FTX, these products demonstrate a powerful future in which assets are digitized and traders have unlimited creative potential to express their beliefs about the markets. He also said these fractional stock products reflect the reality that today's traders are industry and sector spanning and want trading opportunities that fully match their interest and mindset. So I guess the takeaway is just that we're starting to see some of the tokenization of the most popular stocks happen. But let's continue because we have a lot of different things I need to clue you in on today. Again, check the timestamps below. This is big. Fidelity Digital Assets expand crypto custody services to Asia. So Fidelity, one of the biggest in the game in the North American region, well, the cryptocurrency-focused arm of the financial services giant Fidelity Investments is teaming up with Singapore-based Stack funds to cater to the growing demand for cryptocurrencies in Asia. All assets secured through Stack will be subject to monthly audits and be insured. The Stack co-founder says, "We are pleased to utilize the custody services of Fidelity as we see a large uptick in demand for digital assets from traditional investors across Asia. The surge in demand for cryptocurrencies from Asia-based is from high net worth individuals, family offices, is accompanied by increased institutional participation in Bitcoin. Several public companies, including MicroStrategies and Square, have recently disclosed their Bitcoin investments, piquing interest in cryptocurrency. And as we know, Fidelity Investments launched its digital asset arm in late 2018 and was linked to a passively managed Bitcoin fund for wealthy investors that launched in August of this year. So Fidelity is expanding their crypto arm across the world. Incredibly bullish. Let's talk about Ethereum. SEC director who previously called Ethereum sufficiently decentralized to not be a security is leaving the agency this year. What should we take away from this? Well, it really means nothing because Ethereum is still the same as it was then when it was classified as sufficiently decentralized to be a commodity and not a security. Now, regulations are still unclear because what is sufficiently decentralized? They haven't been able to define that yet. And this is not the same person. This is not the same CFTC chair who said this the other week.
Let me just basically say how impressed I am with Ethereum, full stop, period. And that when I think about this as a regulator, I think of it almost analogized to email versus the internet.
So for now, Ethereum is just as safe in its classification as it ever was. There is some question, Ethereum going to proof of stake, which is, to fully go to proof of stake, I hear it's going to take years. Will it still be decentralized? That's up for grabs. We don't know. Interesting. One of the few people in the legacy system who is still FUDing Bitcoin. Bitcoin can't help bank the unbanked, claims Mastercard CEO. Bitcoin cannot function as an inclusive currency for the unbanked due to its volatility, Mastercard CEO said during Tuesday's Fortune Global Forum conference. He also cited a lack of knowledge about who is behind Bitcoin as concerning. That's hilarious. I am not a believer in the volatility, or for that matter, the absence of transparency in who is the person who's involved in Bitcoin. So that's why central bank digital currencies we are believers in. So total FUD about Bitcoin. He's probably buying some right now. They're probably going to totally change their mind in a couple years, like we've seen from PayPal, like we've seen from JPMorgan. Guys, JPMorgan's JPM coin is now live, according to execs. The tech firm will use the token to make global payments starting this week. It was built on Quorum, a private version, a forked private version of Ethereum developed by the bank but acquired by development firm Consensus this August. And we can go right to the site. This is Onyx by JPMorgan. We are the first global bank to enable deposit accounts on a blockchain ledger designed to make instantaneous payments, transfers, and balance, blah, blah, blah. This is what they say. We're the first global bank to create a product-grade, scalable, peer-to-peer blockchain-based network. So this isn't very good news for cryptos like Ripple. And, but we can see CBDCs, JPM coin, this is the future, a permissioned blockchain. And it's making all blockchains okay, but it will surely, show the difference between decentralized permissionless blockchains and blockchains like this. And for the final piece of news of the day, because I know this video is getting long, I wanted to clue you guys into what's going on with Celsius and all the drama that the CEO is getting into. I'll have to make that a separate video because this video is getting long. Final piece of news of the day, Atari has launched their public token sale. Not only are they launching their own token, use case yet to be fully determined, but they're also working with Wax, another cryptocurrency platform, which has its own Wax token, but Wax is specific to gaming as well. Atari and Wax have teamed up to bring collectibles from the pop culture video game phenomenon Atari onto the blockchain. Starting in early November, collectors around the world can buy, gift, and trade Atari digital collectibles called NFTs. Each NFT is certified authentic, unique, and never be altered. I guess to conclude, guys, it seems like the world is waking up to Bitcoin in a big way. Something that is most surprising to me, because I actually thought for a while, as I said, maybe these Bitcoin people are right. And I think they are right in a lot of ways, but maybe the world will see it exactly the way they see it and how maybe a Bitcoin fundamentalist like myself sees it. But it seems to me that the world is just as down to tokenize everything this cycle as they were last cycle. And yes, we're coming into this cycle a lot smarter, especially this audience. But it seems to me, something like what we saw with Ethereum last cycle, going on a huge run like this. Not that it's going to happen the same way, but something like this will happen again. And I do want to remind you that I'm not like hating on anybody, but there, certain Bitcoin maximalists back in the day when Ethereum launched and you had to send your Bitcoin to the Ethereum ICO, they said Ethereum's a scam. Well, it launched. Ethereum launched, said nobody would ever build on it. It's never going to be, it's definitely an unregistered security. Well, not only did people build on it, This, CFTC and SEC classified it as a commodity, not a security. And, they missed out on a run up like this. Now, I'm not saying they're right or wrong on the future of Ethereum. I really don't know. I come at this space as an everyman. But I think something like this is going to happen again this cycle. And we're going to be smarter than a lot of other people because we're going to make sure our Bitcoin stack keeps increasing. But it seems to me a lot of the things that people say is wrong with, projects like Ethereum, that stuff needs to be tested. That stuff needs to play out. So overall, incredibly bullish on the future of this space and this cycle. We are incredibly early, and it's interesting to see how this space is developing and how perceptions are changing. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.